Hello everyone, welcome back to Logan's Weather Channel. Today is Friday, April 3rd, and I have some severe weather to talk about. So first of all, we have this area of general thunderstorms here in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and a little bit of North Carolina as well. This just means that you will get probably a rumble of thunder or two in these areas that are in this light green risk. Then, as we take a bit of a broader view, we have this large area of severe weather and then some just general thunderstorms. General thunderstorms go all the way up into Canada, out to New York, down to about Virginia, and then down to Louisiana and Texas, and then out west to Nebraska, South Dakota, and then Minnesota, and up into Michigan as well. And again, that's just for a rumble of thunder or two in those those light green areas. Then in this darker green, that is our marginal risk. That means that there's about a 5% chance of severe weather happening in that area. And this reaches up to New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, a little bit of Kentucky, parts of Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and I think that's it. And then in the middle here, there's this yellow area. That's a slight risk. That means about 15% chance that severe weather can happen in that area. And this is in Illinois, Iowa, a tiny bit of Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, and Arkansas. And then there's this enhanced risk, again, in kind of the same area, just a little more southwest as yesterday. This is an enhanced risk. This means 30% chance of severe weather here in this area. And this is for maybe a tiny bit of Kansas on the very northeastern part, but a little bit of western Illinois, southern Iowa, and northern Missouri. Now we have all three severe weather threats with this. The first one I wanted to look at was hail. So in this brown area, it's a 5% chance. The yellow, it is a 15% chance. And in that hatched risk is what we call it, conditional intensity group 1. That means that hail could be up to 2 inches large in that area that has those black lines. Now this risk is all the way out to New York and a little bit of Maryland, down to Texas, and up into Minnesota and Wisconsin. And then the main threat here for hail is through about Iowa, Illinois, down to Texas and Oklahoma. And that's again a 15% chance. But in the middle of it, in Oklahoma up to Iowa, there is that conditional intensity group 1, which means that hail could be up to 2 inches. The next threat I wanted to look at was tornadoes. We've got a tornado threat all the way from southern Michigan out to Ohio and then down to Texas and up into Iowa, a little bit of Nebraska as well. Now, anywhere you see that green, that's just a 2% chance, which isn't a 0, so definitely still be on lookout in those areas. But then in the brown is a 5% chance. And then in that hatched area, those black lines, that means that there could be EF2 tornadoes. So strong tornadoes are possible today. And this hatched risk, goes all the way from Michigan out to Nebraska, the border of Nebraska with Missouri and Iowa, into Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, a little bit of Ohio, and then Illinois as well. And then the 5% risk is right in the middle of that in Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, and a little tiny bit of Kansas. And then we have our wind. Now this risk goes all the way up to New York and Pennsylvania, down to Texas, and up into Wisconsin and Minnesota. Now in this brown area, that's a 5% chance of a damaging wind gust over 58 miles per hour. And then in the yellow is 15%, and then in the red is actually a 30%. And you can see there's this 15%, this reaches from Texas up into Iowa. And then up here in Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois, there is that 30%, which also has a hatch around it, which means that wind gusts could be over 75 miles per hour in that hatched area. So this is the Weather Prediction Center's national outlook. So we're just going to go through this really quickly. Anywhere that you see this green color is just thunderstorms, rain/thunderstorms. Then where you see this yellow, that is severe thunderstorms possible. So that's going to be in your slight risk area. Although severe thunderstorms are possible outside of that, that's where it's most likely. And then in that red area is actually flash flooding possible, heavy rain or flash flooding. So that's definitely another thing we're gonna have to watch out for in these areas of severe weather. Then anywhere you see this bluish purple here, that is for mixed precipitation. And then anywhere you see the pink hatching is the chance for freezing rain. So we've got some freezing rain and some mixed precipitation up here near Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And then up in the UP of Michigan, a little bit of Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, even into Iowa and Nebraska as well. And then we have these gray areas. This is critical fire risk. So this is in Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico, and a bit of Texas. And this is where we have good chances for some fires to spark off and that they could spread here in this area. So that is somewhere you do not want to be burning today. So now we'll look at the WPC excessive rainfall outlook. So this is the chance for flash flooding. So in this green area, all the way up again to New York, down to Texas, up into a little bit of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Or no, not Wyoming, Minnesota. There's that marginal risk, which is a 5% chance. And then there's two slight risk areas. There's this large one here from Texas up into Missouri, including parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And then there's this other risk in Iowa, a little bit of Wisconsin, and then a little bit of Illinois as well. So now we'll take a quick look at our current weather. You can see most of the United States is pretty quiet. There are some red flag warnings here in Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, and then a little bit of New Mexico down here. And then up here in Montana, the Dakotas, and then a little bit of Minnesota, actually most of Minnesota, and all the way out east to the UP of Michigan and even Wisconsin. There are these winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings. So this is where it's going to be colder on the top side of this system that's bringing our severe weather. And this is where we get ice and some winter weather. Now, here in the UP of Michigan and then Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, there is a chance for some ice. So there's ice storm warnings here until tomorrow. And these are places that have already got a lot of ice with yesterday's system. We saw some places they got up to 0.4 inches of ice, which is plenty over ice storm criteria. And there are even places right now here in Marquette County, Michigan, that are getting ice currently, and they've already got 1/10 of an inch up there. And then out here in Iowa, you can see some thunderstorms. This is going to be around the top side of the severe weather. So this won't likely be severe yet. This could turn severe as we get farther into the day and into the afternoon, but not yet. And we can't forget about the Northeast. They're actually getting some ice right now as well, as there's already been 0.03 and 0.01 inches reported. But for most of the West, a little bit past Utah, and then out west, and then in the south here, it's mostly calm with some thunderstorms later on today. So I wanted to look at something really interesting. This is all of the severe warnings yesterday on April 2nd. And so there are some main areas here. You've got this area here in the southern Great Plains, right? You've got all these severe thunderstorm warnings here. And then this right here, this tornado warning in between Houston and Austin, this was actually in a general thunderstorms area. So this should not have had any kind of severe threat. But this just goes to show that we've got to be watching out. We've got to have ways to receive warnings, even if you're not in a severe threat, because these people, they were likely not expecting anything severe, any kind of tornado warning, but they actually ended up getting a tornado warning. Now, I don't know if this was a confirmed tornado or not, but it just shows that we really got to be watching out. The weather can do crazy things sometimes. And then the other main area here is up in the Midwest, and this is where the big severe weather event was expected here in Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin area. And we got a bunch of severe warnings, a bunch of tornado warnings in this area. We had a few tornadoes that did touch down in this area as well. And then if you shift east a little bit here, these were areas in a slight risk here in Indiana and Michigan. But now you've got a couple more areas here down in Louisiana. They were not under a severe threat, but they ended up getting severe thunderstorm warnings in Louisiana with a general thunderstorm risk. And then all the way up here in Maryland as well. Actually, it's mostly Delaware. It's all Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. They got what is this? 7 severe thunderstorm warnings in this area. And these again, they were only under a general thunderstorm risk. Yeah, and actually some of these areas like in New Jersey and Delaware, they weren't even supposed to be getting thunderstorms according to the SPC. It was only supposed to be there was no risk. There's the lowest risk per the SPC, which is the green general thunderstorms, the light green, as I showed you earlier at the start of this video. But this area wasn't even under that risk. They had nothing over top of them. But these areas here, just east of Washington in Maryland, were barely inside of it. So again, this really goes to show that anything can happen. And then we had one rogue severe thunderstorm warning here in West Virginia, which again was in a general thunderstorm risk. And that's all the weather that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Make sure that you stay safe in any of the severe weather areas, and even outside of it, anywhere that's going to be getting general thunderstorms, or even if you're just outside of that, because we know things can happen that are crazy and that are not expected. So make sure you have ways to receive warnings, and I will see you guys next time.